It is 5:01, week number 6. It's loud and busy at Hillbrook School, so I'm literally in the corner in a small office recording this video for you. Hopefully your week has been going all right. Hopefully just the right amount of overwhelm, underwhelm. Hopefully it's just whelmed. This week we are looking at being technology stewards and what that looks like, and starting to look at what institution-wide change looks like. Part of that's going to be with the Common Core. Part of it is communities of practice. Part of it is, just kind of continuing the thoughts with Sir Ken Robinson. Part of it is going to also be the Holly Clark, Tanya Avrith book looking at how students demonstrate learning. And that's actually what I want to talk a little bit about right now, because that is what I think is potentially a really exciting part of being a teacher that I never used to think of as exciting. I used to call it like the A word, assessment. It's just took all the joy out of being a teacher for me for a long time. And I realized there's a whole lot of types of assessment and a whole lot of ways to assess students, and that when we ask students to demonstrate their learning, to communicate their knowledge, to communicate what they think they've learned and what they have learned and what they're doing about it, all that stuff is assessment, right? Too often I think assessment gets a bad name because it's summative assessment, it's state testing, it is the thing that sucks the life out of a classroom because we have to teach to the test, or there's at least pressure in some schools that we have to teach to the test and then we have to prep for the test. But really, we're assessing students almost every minute of every day. And what I like about this chapter of the Google Infused Classroom is that as we look at what students are creating, looking at it as a way to kind of check in with them and see what haven't they learned, what have they learned, what have they for sure learned, what do we need to reteach, and the bar for that certainly isn't summative assessment, right, where it's like this will be a public report for the school, for the district, and we will have meetings to look at it. But it can be just like student just shared it, it's in a shared folder, you can see it, and you just very quickly leave a comment like in Google Sheets, right? You have a quick little conversation in the chat and you're good. It could be the student does a screen recording in Seesaw, which is an extraordinary app, tends to skew kind of younger, but we've had our 8th graders build out portfolios using Seesaw, and it just works really well for that also. But they definitely continue to improve it in ways that emerging readers, like kindergartners, can actually use Seesaw in a way that not a lot of apps or platforms let you do. But a student can just screen record Google Slides where they have pictures, drawings, text, whatever, photos they've added to Google Slides, and then you can record an audio feedback, right? Like all of that, I think fits into what we think of when we can assess students. And I think that gets far more interesting than just multiple choice test. Here you go. I have a stack of papers to grade late tonight. Fall asleep with a drink in my hand. Doesn't have to be that way, right? Like it can be like really short, really just like precise feedback, really like low barrier of entry for the student and for you. And as you get that feedback earlier in the process, students are able to make those adjustments along the way. So it can be exciting, right? Right? It can be. Is your head nodding like a tiny bit? It's a couple of you, like, yes. You're picking up what I'm putting down a little bit. As we look at the discussion of week 6, we're going to just jump right into the chapter from Sir Ken Robinson. There's a bunch of letters that start with C. Which one of those resonates with you? And then just give us an example of it. I have found that in this threaded discussion, hearing responses from your peers is actually a more interesting thing. If you don't know quite how to respond other than, yes, I too believe that creativity is an important part of learning in the 21st century. I think there's only so many times you can write that, but trying to push each other's thinking a little bit of like how might you live that out? How might you restructure some systems in your class or in your school where your students can live that out more? Or what's a barrier to that? You can kind of push on each other a little bit, or you can share yourself something maybe you've changed or something you're considering changing that that's going to open that up a little bit more, that that either will help that happen more or not be a barrier, right? There's kind of two ways of thinking about that. Like our students are already doing some creativity, let's do more. But the other way is like, when are they not able to be creative? What's the barrier? And then how might I remove that barrier, right? What's preventing your students from being able to do more of that? Tends to get some pretty low-hanging fruit. So that is my suggestion with that. The last thing you have this week, the big thing this week, is your assignment, the Social Media Starter Kit Part 2. With this one, you're just going to go through the rubric and make sure that you have addressed all of the things, right? You have at least 10 original tweets sent. You have some links. There are original tweets with original thoughts, original links to articles. You don't have to write 10 blog posts, but you do have to link to them and have some original commentary about it, or something that you like from somebody. If you quote tweet it, then it shows up as kind of your original tweet. Don't just reply to 10 people. At some point you will need to participate in a chat, so find some time in the next week. There's an article that walks you through from ISTE different Twitter chats that are worth your time, is how they refer to it. You have to do it, so it is worth your time. There's lots of websites that'll give you timing. Either find the topic you want to talk about, and then hopefully the time works, or just be like, I always do my assignments on Sunday at 8 p.m. So let's see what chat there is Sunday at 8 p.m. California Ed Chat. Let's do that one. Yeah. So go through that. If you need some help kind of getting up to speed with Twitter, remember week 2, part 1 of this assignment, has a playlist. There's 5 videos embedded in that one iframe, the one embed on the week 2 page. There's actually 5 videos. So if you're still not quite sure of how educators are thinking about Twitter, or how kind of the mechanics of doing that, that's a good place to start. Certainly before you email me, please watch those videos if you're stuck on this assignment. And then be sure and read through the weekly announcement. I'll walk you through a few other things there. So that is all for week number 6. Hopefully, as my mom would say, you're enjoying the Twitters, finding some value with that, finding a few educators that you can continue to learn from, because so much of this course in 501 is going to change pretty quickly, and finding people that you can continue to learn from outside of our 8 weeks together is going to be a good thing for you. So happy week 6. As you have questions, please reach out, and be safe out there. Take care, everybody.